Okay, hi everybody. We, as per usual, have some technical issues. So I'm waiting for my guest to connect with her link. Brand new link out there that I just tweeted. So let me go here. Okay. Hey, y'all. Okay. Hi, everybody. We, as per usual, mute. I like the mute button. Hey, y'all, spread the word with the new link. Okay, and it won't let me. That's okay. That's totally okay. Because I did tweet the new link. Alrighty then. So we are waiting for our very special guest. And as soon as she arrives, we will be able to get started. In the meantime, I'm going to check my handy dandy notes here. Let's see. We have a lot we're going to talk about tonight, actually. So what we're going to be doing is looking at all the campaigns we've got going on. We're going to be talking about the season 10 finale, and I do have a special guest that I am waiting for her to reconnect. So let me, I can't find anything anymore. Okay, so that'll be like this.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm looking for my ball. My football.
And my son's looking for his football. It's never a dull moment in here. Okay.
What did you say?
I said it's never a dull moment. I'm on the air.
Finally.
Video bombed.
Finally.
Hi.
How are you?
Okay, I'm good. How are you? Okay, we are officially on the air now. Okay,
Hi,
we are
everybody.
live. Sometimes, you know what happened is I changed my Google password, and I think that's what screwed up my link. So I had to go in and create it and all that fun stuff. Okay, so for you guys watching, and I'm trying to make sure I can see the chat window and you at the same time. Okay, you're probably wondering, well, why is this woman Debbie here? Well, I'm going to tell you why. First of all, let me introduce you. This is Debbie, who is a Twitter extraordinaire. She is amazing. She is the most encouraging, supportive person for the Always Keep Fighting campaign. And that's a big part of what we're going to talk about tonight. In addition to talking about get your Kleenex out, we're going to be talking about the season finale.
Yeah.
And I just got done watching it again. Just, you know, so that's why my eyes are a little, glassy. So Debbie is here with us because I had put out there a brand new design in the Always Keep Fighting campaign, and it is the I Am Stigma Free bracelet. And of course, in my ultra organized brain, I forgot to bring one into the room before I went live so that you could see. So I am going to, when one of my children video bombs us, because it is going to happen, I will have them go and grab bracelets, and then I can show you guys what it looks like. But my my contest was the first person who buys the I Am Stigma Free bracelet would be my guest tonight. And Debbie jumped at the challenge. She got the bracelet, and I'm just so incredibly pleased to have her here to chat with us.
Thanks.
So why don't we just throw you right on the fire now? Get started. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I am 55. I live outside of the Chicago area, outside the Chicago city in the suburbs. And I have been watching Supernatural since season 6 is when I got sucked in to this really amazing phenomenon that's Supernatural. My sister told me right away when it first came out, oh, you would love this show. This is right up your alley. And the guys are really hot. Okay, that was my recommendation to the show. I'm like, oh yeah, but I'm already watching Fringe. I'm already watching Lost. I can't do another show. It's, at the time I was working a lot, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna be losing so much time just on TV. And she kind of kept at me, and Fringe finally went off the air. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start watching Supernatural. She's like, oh my God, you're gonna love it. You have to call me after you watch the first one. And yeah, right away it grabbed me. And I think, I'm big into, I like the paranormal. I like werewolf stories. I like vampire stories. I loved Buffy. I mean, this really is something that would appeal to me. And I really liked right away, right from the start, like the relationship of the brothers and how they fought for each other. That was so clear, even in just one watch, just one view. And I was
what would you say was the actual hook? What was it that was the final, okay, I've got to start watching this shit? What was that?
I have to say a combination of it was Soulless Sam, right? That's when Sam comes back from hell. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy was in hell. I'm like, that's amazing. And so I think my hook was, yeah, Sam had been to hell. And how is he not adapting to coming back to regular life, to coming back to Earth? And so that combined with what they were hunting and the stuff that they were fighting, I'm like, oh my God, this show is awesome. And this guy's been to hell. What show does that, right? And yeah, it was.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just need to interrupt you for 1 second because I think we're getting some reverb. And I'm wondering if there's an issue with, do you have the volume on YouTube? Or because if you have the volume on YouTube, it might interfere because we're getting like echoey
I
feedback.
don't have YouTube on. I just have the Google app.
Oh, okay. So, okay. I don't know. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Keep going.
That's okay. I can sit back a little farther. Maybe I'm too close. So, yeah. So the hook for me that got me in there was, how is Sam really going to adapt back to being on Earth? And then just how they were like trying to find their feet, and it was obvious after I watched a couple of them, Dean had been away from life and he's getting pulled back in, and Sam is completely different. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to go figure out what happened. So enter Netflix and binge watching, and I caught up in not very much time.
Yeah.
And was just like, wow, I love these guys. Yeah, they're really hot. But I loved their characters. And I thought the acting was really, really good. I mean, I even at the first, I could just watch Jensen Ackles' face with no sound and know what was going on. And I'm like, oh, this is really good. This is like way better than what a CW show would be. Because that was part of my, oh my God, am I really going to watch a show on, I don't remember if it was WB or CW then, but I'm like, am I really going to watch a show on this network? They're usually so trite and so shallow. And this wasn't.
Mm-hmm. That's true. There a lot of the shows don't have depth to them the way that Supernatural does.
Right. And, a lot of credit to the producers, the writers, and the actors who, probably have some say. And at least they have a say in how they portray that character. So yeah, I think, the whole ball of wax, like I said, I was sucked in. I was like, oh my God, why didn't I watch this show? Wow, I'm so dumb, and yeah, I didn't find the fan.
I know the feeling.
Until a few years later, but yeah, the show was awesome. And I, like I said, caught up. I rewatched a whole bunch of things, and read some stuff online, but really didn't get involved in the fandom until it'll be 2 years ago in the fall. So like August, September timeframe. So for season 9 was launching.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was a late bloomer too.
When did you join?
In January of 2013, I was laid off from my job, so I had some time on my hands. So I said, let me go on Netflix and find something to watch. And after burning through pretty much every horror movie on Netflix, I got stuck. Yeah. What am I going to watch? And I'm flipping through TV shows they have on Netflix. I'm like, oh, Supernatural. I'll watch one. Yeah, here I am. So anyway, I'll just watch one.
How many people have said that, right? And
they're like potato chips.
Yeah, exactly. You can't stop with one. And I was telling you this the other day, that pilot episode is amazing. Had I watched the pilot, even just out of curiosity, I think I would have been on board from the beginning. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I would too. Pretty sure. There's just, even with the pilot, you get so much backstory without hearing a word about it.
Exactly. And you feel for it's a pilot. How do you feel for the characters at the end of a pilot? You don't even know them. And yet I felt so bad for Sam. That I as I watched, I'm like, oh my God, this poor, wow. And then he went to hell. Oh my God. Yeah, I really got hung up on the hell thing for a while. And yeah, it just was good. And I rewatch that one once in a while, and it still stands up, even as I've watched all the other shows. All the subsequent shows. I still think the pilot's really strong, and it holds its own, even compared to, as the shows progressed. So that to me says, going right in, they were already, Kripke or whoever was on board to set this up, was already really thinking about a really strong show. And maybe Jensen and Jared, I don't know, I can't speak to that, but it wasn't like, let's just throw this pilot together and we'll put it out there and see what happens. It was like they really cared right from the get-go. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was. I remember speaking with Jim Michaels at Vegas Con a couple of years back, and he was telling me, basically what they were trying to achieve with the pilot was Star Wars in a Chevy Impala hunting monsters. So it was Luke Skywalker and Han Solo chasing monsters. And once he put it that way, holy shit, that fits perfectly. And it explains why Harrison Ford was my first boyfriend,
Well, it really does explain it. It's an awesome metaphor. So,
isn't it?
Yeah,
it fits perfectly.
It does fit perfectly, and it was as character driven and intense as that first Star Wars.
Yeah,
one of my favorite movies of all time, by the way. Can't wait for the remake.
Don't even get me started on Star Wars. I will sit here and recite the whole episode 4 verbatim. Oh my God, I was a boy growing up. Completely. I think, getting back to the integrity of the pilot, they kept that momentum going through the whole entire first season. It didn't wane at all. And I think the fact that the writing was so strong, combined with Jensen and Jared's abilities, it was incredible. We developed these intense emotional investments in the characters and their stories. And through each season, that grew stronger and stronger and stronger. and now here we are at the end of season 10, and in the middle of the season, Jared began his Always Keep Fighting campaign. And the fact that he did that made me love the show even more, even though it wasn't directly connected to the show. Just the fact that he did that was incredible. And I think that the fact that he did that also garnered a lot more fans in the SPN family.
Yeah.
Because here you have someone who's high profile, who is not afraid or ashamed to say, you know, I got shit. I'm dealing with shit. You know, and, you know, the fact that he kept that humility and humanity about him is another draw to the show that nothing else out there has. You know, and on that note, I just wanted to just pivot off that for a minute and talk about the Always Keep Fighting campaign. We have to date, I have a number. The number has grown. The last time we spoke, we had $1,003 raised. We now have $1,143 raised for Always Keep Fighting, and I'm so beyond excited and moved by that. And that also includes a new design, which is why you're here. The new design is I'm Stigma Free, which, you know, you and I were talking about this last night, how, you know, yes, Always Keep Fighting is such an incredibly strong campaign, but you also have to have the other side of it too, that I am stigma free, because if you are hiding and keeping your feelings under wraps because of the perception that mental illness has, then Always Keep Fighting isn't always really going to work for you.
Right.
You know, so you kind of need both to bolster your strength, you know. At least that's the way it is for me. I might be generalizing. Other people might be fine. I'm not. I need both. You know, so with that being said, I also created an I Am Stigma Free bracelet, which is out there. And of course, 50% of the proceeds from those bracelets are also going to the Always Keep Fighting campaign. And additionally, there's some other fundraising efforts we've got going on. We have the Rock the Monkey campaign, which is for Random Acts. It's a Random Acts approved fundraiser where 100% of the proceeds gets donated to Random Acts. So if you go to my shop, eldwin.etsy.com, you will find my Rock the Monkey campaign items, and everything that you buy from Rock the Monkey, 100% of it goes to Random Acts so they can keep doing their cool stuff. And, you know, going back to you, so what compelled you, besides the awesome chance to be on the show, what compelled you to buy the I Am Stigma Free bracelet?
Honestly, I was scared to death to be on the show, but
they don't bite yet.
Yeah, we'll see. So, you know, I'm wearing my Always Keep Fighting, and Always Keep Fighting is an awesome message to put out there. But in my own life and in my own struggle, in order to keep fighting, I have had to be really frank with people about what I've been dealing with, and, you know, how I got to the place that I am. Partially because that keeps me stronger, and the other part, as I was telling you, is that it's really important for me to talk about the things that happened to me, because I think it gives other people strength, that, you know, they can look at me and say, oh my gosh, she's just this regular person from Chicago. You know, she has a regular job, goes to work every day. And she went through all this, and she's okay. And I can be too. And she wasn't afraid. And she wasn't, well, I was, but I mean, she wasn't afraid to stand up and say, no, I've got to take care of myself. I've got to take care of this. And in my own life, there were people that were so so afraid of saying, you know, having any taint of any kind of mental illness touch the family that, you know, I know they didn't get treatment and they self-medicated with alcohol and then later on with drugs, which led to really a deterioration of my core family. So being, you know, fighting to free the stigma from this so people can reach out and get help, it is probably even a little more important to me than my own always keep fighting. I've kind of gotten, it's never going to end, but I mean, yes, I'm always going to keep fighting. I had my crisis 30 years ago, I made it through, and I have been determined to fix my life and live well. Now I want to be able to help, to kind of, again, to reach out to others, to say, you know, to make the stigma go away, to say it's okay to tell somebody that you're struggling and they're not going to make fun of you because people are going to start to recognize this. As we talked about last night, you know, nobody is afraid to say they're diabetic. Nobody is afraid to say that they have high blood pressure, or they've got an infection and they have to take an antibiotic, or, you know, blood thinners or heart pills, or, you know, we have every kind of medicine available. Why is it bad to take something that corrects an imbalance in your brain so that you can be happy, so that you can appreciate your life, right?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that with mental illness, it's not something, so it doesn't present itself physically.
Right.
So, you know, it's like pain management too. It doesn't present itself physically to other people. So if they can't see it, they don't believe it. Oh, buck up, man up. Yeah, you know, you're being lazy. You're feeling sorry for yourself. You know, no one understands it unless they're going through it or has a loved one that's gone through it.
Or, oh, you're just sad. No, you know, I'm sorry. No. Depression isn't just sadness. And it usually walks hand in hand with its very close sister, anxiety. So, you know, the two of them combined, honest to God, there were days I didn't want to leave my house. That, you know, I remember being in college, and I graduated and everything, but I would be so anxious that I would spend the entire night on the phone with people. I would call every single contact in my phone, at the time a phone book, in my phone book, and have to almost talk about the same thing over and over because whatever was coming up, I was so anxious about. And I never really said to them, oh my gosh, I'm so anxious and so frightened about this. It would just be, oh, just talk. We'd just talk about things. And it was this, I was almost compelled to do it because I was so frightened. And I was determined to not use alcohol or even any kind of prescription narcotic like my parents did. That was not going to be how I managed my life. I was going to figure something else out. And yeah. So,
we're getting, I'm sorry, I just wanted to interject for a second because we're getting a message from the chat window. Carrie has said, sending hugs and love to you, Debbie.
Oh, thank you, hon. Back at you. And it was just, it's so hard to measure which was the hardest part of my life, but because until recently it was all pretty hard. But getting through college helped a lot because I was able to finally get away permanently from my core family. I mean, I still talked to them, I still saw them, but it wasn't on any kind of a regular basis. And only recently have I been able to set boundaries with them. Yeah, it took this long.
How has Supernatural helped you in that?
You know, it is kind of funny. It really has. And I had to think I hadn't thought about it till you sent me the questions, and I started kind of tossing them over. And you just see in Supernatural, Sam and Dean, they never give up. Okay, they don't give up. It sucks. It's horrible. They're bleeding. They're, horribly hurt. they're hurt physically, they're hurt mentally by each other. And yet at the end of the day, it's like, okay, yeah, that was all really sucky, but come on, let's get up and let's go back. And yes, I know that that's a show, but at the same time, it kind of shows you that people can be strong. And then getting involved in the fandom, which Supernatural brought me to, as I started talking to people, I realized, oh my gosh, there were so many people that have had, obviously not, we're all different. We have different things that we've had to overcome, but have similar fears, have similar, have anxiety, have panic attacks for certain things, certain triggers, PTSD. And I'm like, oh my God. And they're all kind of nerdy like I am. And so I was always like the weird nerdy one in the family, right? So all of a sudden I am with this family of people that kind of get me. They get my interest in Supernatural. They get that, I can quote some of the lines from Supernatural and nobody thinks I'm all that weird. And, they get some of the emotional issues that have been going on, and people are there and they're like, oh yeah, but you're so great. We love you. You can do it. I met people for the first time in Vegas and they walked up and hugged me. They're like, oh my gosh, I just love reading your posts. You're so positive. You give me so much strength. And I'm like, no, I'm doing it because it helps me, thank you. But you guys, I'm kind of selfish. This is sort of for me. And then there's that key line that we talked about. And here's the biggest thing from Supernatural, that family doesn't start or end with blood. And for so long, I got hung up on the fact that my family does not love me. My family thinks I am this ginormous failure and, can't do anything. They think I lie. They think I can't do anything right. Everything bad that's ever happened to me, I've lied about, and I realized, okay, I might have been born to that family, but I've got a whole nother family now. And I kind of knew my friends were that close to me, but Supernatural actually putting it out there and using that line more than once made me think, like, you know what? That's so really true, because I was very ill a few years ago and my family did nothing for me, nothing. And my mother thought I was lying. Okay. I was in intensive care, but I was lying. Right. And my friends stepped up and were there every single step of the way as I recovered from this. And my family was just nowhere to be found. Wow. So I'm like, no, my family is, I get it. I get it. This is my family. I so identify with Sam and Dean, having Bobby as their family, having Ellen and Joe, having Charlie, and even Cass, because I truly believe they consider him a brother. That, they have made this family to make up for losing their mother so soon, losing John, for John, driving them so hard as they were growing up. Kind of a lot of the same things that I feel like some of the people in the fandom have faced. And yeah, you find your own family. You find your, Matt Cohen said, you find your tribe, right?
Yep.
And yeah, this is the tribe. And I was so nervous about Vegas. I can't even begin to tell you. I was like shaking, nervous. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to go to this place and people are going to see me and they're going to think I'm this big weirdo and nobody's going to like me. And because, it's an old fear. And I had the best time. And everybody I met was so awesome. You and other people, and Denise, who is listening, the girl that I roomed with, who is now like my sister. And I was like, this is it. I found it. I found it. I found my place.
There's a quote by Misha Collins that helps me out a lot too. When you said weirdo, it kind of triggered my memory on this one. He had said he wants to live in a world where normal is an insult.
Yeah.
And that just blew my mind tremendously. Like, yeah.
It's actually, that's really pretty cool because
you know, and especially, you know, at a supernatural convention, everybody seems to be so self-conscious about, oh, they're going to think I'm this, they're going to be, who fuck what they think, just be yourself. It's boring if everyone's the same.
it is boring if everybody is the same. And, you know, having been pretty different my whole life, finding a group that accepts different and rewards different has really been eye-opening. And so, yeah, in this last year, I have made tremendous strides in putting my shattered self back together, my self-confidence, gaining a lot of it back. And yes, I did the work, and my therapist is wonderful, and my friends who listen to me, but I'm going to have to put a lot of it on the supernatural fandom and even just, and supernatural, because that's what drew me into it. Because I realized, you know what? I'm not so different. And people, and there are people who appreciate, you know, my wit, my stupid jokes, the fact that I can quote a whole supernatural show, that, you know, I know how tall Jensen Ackles is and how tall Joe and Padalecki are, and, you know, random things like that, and that it's appreciated. And so I have this giant, when I think of the fandom, even with infighting and the whole 9 yards, the whole bunch of it, the whole kind of dysfunctional bunch of it, like a family, I love them. I love them. And this is where I belong. This was what I needed. And it's so cool. And so, yeah, always keep fighting. And then I want to banish the stigma and let people be themselves. So the stigma of being kind of, you know, of loving sci-fi, of loving supernatural, of wanting to go to conventions, whether it's your Comic-Cons or your Supernatural or your Vampire Diaries or whatever you're really into. No, you know, no, it's not. There's no stigma there. You are who you are. And people, you're going to find people that love you. And you're going to find people that can support you. And you're going to find people that understand that you're terrified to walk into a room of strangers, and you're going to be practically hyperventilating. And you can talk to them about that, and they can kind of help talk you off that little ledge. Or, right. You know, at work, you know, if I make a mistake at work, I'm like, I'm panic stricken. And it goes back to not being good enough at home. And my very best friend at work will be like, okay, let's talk about it. And, you know, I understand, because, you know, I get that way, but let's look at the reality. So I've got people that go, yeah, you're freaking out, but hey, I get it. But come on, let's look at the realities and let's work through it. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy that you're here, and I didn't have to do this alone. So yeah, I love this fandom. And, you know, I don't know, I hope that you guys, anybody who's out there listening, I hope that comes through when I post stuff, because it is for me, but it's for you too. I want to give back. And I am here to listen if somebody needs to talk. It's all good.
Carrie posted in the chat that SPN family is the best. There's nothing out there like it. We are a worldwide, supportive, awesome family. And I couldn't have said that better.
Yeah,
absolutely. Now, here's where I think we're gonna need some support. Let's talk about the season finale, because I know I'm gonna start crying. So, all right. So before the damn thing even started, they had to go and friggin' use the carry-on version from 200th episode. I already start bawling.
Me too.
Started yet, and I'm already crying.
Me too. You know? That was so beautifully done, though. It was so appropriate and so beautifully done. And I was just like, yeah, my heart just clenched.
Yeah, exactly. It just really, I mean, it always does when you watch the season finale and you hear "Carry On." You know that you're in for it. But then, for whatever reasons, on last week, I was dying. I was just dying.
No, it's that sweet soprano, that a cappella, very very innocent. And we've known that this has been really a hard year for the guys with the Mark.
They've had some shit.
Yeah, taking over Dean and Sam trying to fight it back. So you have this very pure, very, very crystalline voice. And then bam, they hit you with all that action and, the beheading and the blood and all this. And yeah, really effective. Whoever sat down and actually did that treatment for the beginning, really, really effective in terms of how the season went. It was really good.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and even, okay, so let's move into the scene where, Dean is playing FBI G-Man at the crime scene, and he's calling this poor dead girl a whore.
Right.
Another, heartstring got pulled right there. Oh God, he's done. He's just done.
Yeah.
And
because that's so not him, right? That's so not him. He's never been like that. And that it's the Mark speaking to him.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can just see it in his face and in his eyes. He's so drained and done. And oh my God. And then, when we see him in the room trying to rescue the girl, and, Rudy's got a knife to his throat, and Dean's just, utterly done with it. And he actually caused Rudy's death.
I thought about, I had to think about that after I watched it, and I really think Dean believed Rudy would be okay. I think it caught him by surprise that he got killed. But
I don't know. I don't know. See, here, I'm going to disagree with you there. I'm going to say that he found Rudy's very presence there to be inconsequential. He was there to get the girl. End of story. And Rudy was
in the way,
basically, or, it was an expected casualty. If it happens, it happens. If not, yay. If it does happen, well, what do you expect? But I really think he just didn't care at that point. But then when you go to the motel room and he's looking at himself in the mirror and he gets that flash of Rudy there, and he does the Johnny Depp routine on the motel room.
Yeah.
You can, that to me really honed in. Okay. So that he definitely, at that moment when he was trying to rescue the girl, he wasn't thinking what was best for everybody and how can everybody get out of here with still intact. That was the Mark.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's just my opinion, but as the Winchester Bros like to say, that's your opinion, and it's okay. It's wrong.
I'm not going to say it's wrong. It really is something that I had to think about, and I'll be honest, I'm not entirely certain. I guess part of me wants to believe that the Dean that we know was still kind of trying to function there. So I'll say, yeah. I know I want to hold on to that. So I could be sort of blinded, but definitely then when he frees the girl and he just sort of turns his back and walks away, rather than, in the past when he was not wearing the Mark, he'd be all, "Are you all right?" putting his jacket on or whatever.
Right.
Take care of her. And this is just like, okay, done. I'm out of here. Bye. Can't, finished. My job.
Exactly. He was on autopilot.
Yeah. And, not whether he consciously did it or the Mark is doing it, keeping the feelings down. He's just going to work through it like a machine.
Right.
you know, and keep the feelings hidden until he got back to the hotel room, had that flash of Rudy, and then went berserk. And that I believe was Dean. That
Yeah,
red
I agree.
hotel room.
I agree with you. Now we're coming up at it's almost 7:45. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a trivia question out there. And the the prize for whomever gets this correct, and it has to be correct. I'm not taking typos and stuff like that. I used to teach and it makes me crazy. So it has to be accurate, and the prize will be a $50 gift certificate good towards any jewelry in my shop, not the Always Keep Fighting, not the I Am Stigma Free, and not the Rock the Monkey, because those are fundraisers, and therefore I need funds in order to keep continuing to make those pieces. But any other piece in my shop is up for grabs. So, and while we are waiting for the answer to come through, I will be reading my shout out list of every single person who has bought an Always Keep Fighting bracelet or an I Am Stigma Free bracelet as a thank you. And I will continue to do this each week that you know, and people have been asking me, is this a fundraiser that's going away eventually? No, the pieces were designed specifically to raise funds for those movements, and that's exactly what I'm going to keep doing. Those aren't going away. So the trivia question is, since we were just talking about this particular scene where Dean's in the room with Rudy and a girl that they were trying to rescue, and the tables kind of got turned on Rudy, what was the name of the girl they were trying to rescue? What was the name of the girl they were trying to rescue? And with that being said, I am going to pull up my handy dandy list somewhere. Here we go. Okay. So the list of names, these are everybody who was amazing enough to support Always Keep Fighting and I Am Stigma Free as of this afternoon. Julia Casey, Leah Schneider, Jane Hightower, Paulette Gassman, Deborah Bachman, Jen Hathaway, Vesna Fartak, Anne Franzen, Manila Mercurio, Stephanie Guyton, Susan Hall, of Winchester Bros, by the way, Anna Marie Satuela, who is one of my girls, I love her to death, Tiffany Childs, Nancy McGinnis, Sheila Salim, Lorianne Zimmerman, Amy Tretwald, Patricia Reeves, Juquintha Norman. If I butcher your name, I apologize profusely. Carrie Beasy, Desiree Steerite, Laura Mahegan, Marta Simmons, Melissa Crumpton, Vicki Bono, Frances Brown, Kay Bauer, Renee Carroll, Danielle Lafieri, Laura Sherman, Amanda Traver, Annabelle DiBattista. I love that. That's an awesome name, DiBattista. Jane Herman, Wendy Dunn, Jane Hightower, Tanya Funderburg, some dude named Mitch Kosterman. Yeah. Kelsey Spears, Spencer Lindstedt, Jenna Hawking, Barbara Riggs, Jacqueline Kirk, Stacy Kleinendorst, Catherine Bookhorn, Laurel Stevenson, Laura Andrews, Stephanie Camp, Janet McDonald, Barbara A. Pocket, Jennifer Davis, Karen Larson, Darlinda Diaz-Gonzalez, Shonda Whitaker, Allison Farabee, Andrea Stock, Amy Renault, Donna Smallridge, Jessie, who's so cool she only needs a first name, Tara Warfield, Carol Palmer, Constance Cooker, Kristen Dolan, Catherine Webb, Amy Trentwald again, Rachel Jack, Preeti Thukral, Becky Gilraith, also of Winchester Bros, who also bought one for Vinny as well, Amanda Gillespie, Terry Whitaker, Christine Incalcatera, another friggin' awesome name, Lauren Vignola, Becky Maddox, Margaret McElwee, Lisa Tomko, Kendra Campbell, Carrie Anderson, and Debbie.
And I was Deborah Bachman, so yes.
Debbie Bachman in the house. So let me take a look at the chat window, and nobody has answered the question. What? Come on. Okay. The question again is the name of the girl that Dean and the poor deceased Rudy were trying to rescue. Well, did rescue. Rudy tried. Dean did. Not in the most appropriate way, but it worked. And I also wanted to just give out a shout out to the Winchester Bros for being so supportive and always tweeting and being just amazing. And to my girl, Chicky and Bean, the proprietor of Chicky and Bean, Shannon. She has the best Supernatural t-shirts on the planet. Please go to her Etsy shop, look up Chicky and Bean, and you will see the most badass quotes on shirts, and the shirts are amazing. And also a shout out to my husband. Today's our 14th anniversary. 14 years of wedded bliss. Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, I'll just say that. We were poster children for Always Keep Fighting. Yeah. Yeah, so in about 10 minutes, he and I are going to probably go to Outback.
It'll be fun.
We live large. Oh, Carrie, you don't know the answer? Oh, damn. Okay. Let me think. How can I give a clue? Should I give a clue?
Give a clue.
Okay, let me think of a good clue. You will find it in some of my pieces of jewelry. Still nobody. Okay. Oh, thank you for saying happy anniversary, Carrie. Thank you, thank you. I can't think of another clue. Shiny? I don't know, man. Do you know?
I don't.
You're allowed to guess, but only one guess per customer. So the question is, I'll repeat the question. What is the name of the girl that Dean and Rudy, well, Dean and dead Rudy rescued? And another clue is her name is something you would find in some of my pieces of jewelry. And another clue is shiny. Oh no, nobody knows. Okay, well, while we're waiting on someone to answer that.
We're waiting for somebody to look it up.
You haven't gotten off easy yet because I still have 2 more questions for you. Okay, question. You know, these are the standard questions that I torture all of my guests with. So you're stranded on an island. It could be any kind of island you want. It could be a tropical island. It could be a desert island. It could be whatever. And you're allowed to only bring one supernatural character with you. Not an actor, but the character. Who would it be and why?
Yeah, and I did think about this too, because my initial thought was different than what I ended up with. I would bring Sam.
You bring Sam, okay. Yeah. And why?
Because I think he is as badass as Dean, and as, you know, proficient with the weapons and the protecting and the whole 9 yards, and yet would be somebody that you could actually have really long conversations with when there's nothing else to do on the island, right? And,
true.
You know, Dean, I love him. I'm a Dean girl. But, you know, you'd run through his list of favorite bands really fast. And, you know, and, you know. Like me. So I first was going to go with Dean. And then I'm like, no, you know what? Really, at the end of the day, it would be Sam, because he's got the brains, and he's got the brawn, and he's got the the fighting talent. He's badass and could take care of me, and probably knows how to build a shelter because he read it somewhere and remembered it. And yeah, Sam.
Okay, that's cool. We've gotten some really good, interesting responses in the past. The most popular one seems to be Sheriff Jody.
Oh, she would be good too.
Lots of people pick Jody. Okay, so now my other question for you is also another question that I torture all my guests with, is finish this statement. All you need is what?
My friends.
That's a totally different answer than anybody's ever given too. That's really cool.
Yeah, my friends are everything.
Especially in this fandom.
Yeah. Well, in my life, it's been my friends. I mean, very briefly, I know we're almost out of time, but it was my college roommate and my best friend at the time who talked me out of killing myself. And I was actually angry at her at the time. She was dying. She had leukemia and she was dying. And I was so envious of the fact that she was dying and I wasn't. And we were actually, I had actually been really awful to her for a while. And when she sat down with me that night and told me all the ways that I had helped to keep her strong and all the things about me that she valued, and then asked me to please carry part of her in my heart for the rest of my life so that she would know that somebody besides her family was carrying her. She goes, we're the same age. We have some of the same things. If you live a good life, that will be my life too. And I committed to her that night that I would never give up. So yeah, my friends.
Thank you for sharing all of that. I really appreciate how open you've been this past hour. And I hope that other people that watch this, not just that are watching this now, but that will come and watch it on my channel, will find some kind of strength and empowerment from what you've shared with us tonight. That this has been really huge, and I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much for asking me to be here. This was really fun, and I am glad to get to address, a whole bunch of people out there and let them know in more than 140 characters exactly, what I'm about. And it's been really cool talking to you too. So.
Oh, I've had a blast. It was so nice to talk to you too. Oh, before we go, I guess should I divulge the answer since no one's gotten it?
Yeah, you should.
Okay, so the name of the girl that Dean and Dead Rudy, I'm gonna just hashtag Dead Rudy for the rest of the night on Twitter. Dead Rudy and Dean were trying to rescue a girl whose name is also something you may find in some of my pieces of jewelry, and another clue was shiny. Her name was Crystal! Crystal, guys!
Okay, we were kind of dumb.
I only know because I watched the season finale 10 minutes before I came back in here. And that's why. So, yeah.
That was a good question.
I try to keep it interesting. We're getting thank yous in the chat room too. Thank you, Debbie, with hearts.
Oh, thank you guys.
Well, it was such an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you for spending an hour with us and sharing and being as deep as you've been. I mean, you've got such an incredible survivor story. And, like I said, I hope that any future viewers that come in and they click on this episode, they walk away with, more strengthened than what they had coming in.
I hope so too.
And thank you so much for supporting the Always Keep Fighting campaign.
Absolutely.
And I am stigma free. So remember, everybody, if you check in the description below the video, you will find the links to my shop. And I would really appreciate it if you could just give it a look. 50% of every purchase of an Always Keep Fighting or I'm Stigma Free bracelet goes directly to Always Keep Fighting. Okay, thank you all, and thank you, Debbie.
All right,
It's
guys.
been real. I'm gonna go have some.
Go have fun.
Okay.
All right, Jody, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.